Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on October 20th, 2021 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Pangong Langayate Giri Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we will continue with the compilation of Sri Krishna Chaitanya book. Today's chapter is entitled Conduct of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami in Vrindavan. Under the section, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.114.
প্রভুর 10 অশ্বমেধ ঘাটে নিভৃতে শিরূপকে শক্তি সঞ্চার ও শিক্ষাদান। লোক ভীর ভয়ে প্রভু 10 অশ্বমেধ যাইয়া রূপ গোসাইয়ের শিক্ষা করান শক্তি সঞ্চারিয়া।
Due to great crowds in Prayag, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to a place called Dasha Ashwamedha Ghat. It was there that the Lord instructed Sri Rupa Goswami and empowered him in the philosophy of devotional service. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Parasha Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. The Supreme Lord has multipotencies, which the Lord bestows on His fortunate devotees. The Lord has a special potency by which He spreads the Krishna consciousness movement. This is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela 7:11. Kali Kaler Dharma Krishna Nam Shankirtana Krishna Shakti Bina Nahe Tar Pravartan. One cannot spread the holy name of Krishna without being specifically empowered by Lord Krishna. A devotee who receives this power from the Lord must be considered very fortunate. The Krishna consciousness movement is spreading to enlighten people about their real position, their original relationship with Krishna. One requires Krishna's special power in order to be able to do this. People forget their relationship with Krishna and work under the spell of Maya life after life, transmigrating from one body to another. This is the process of material existence. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna personally descends to teach people that their position in material world is a mistaken one. The Lord again comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to induce people to take to Krishna consciousness. The Lord also empowers a special devotee to teach people their constitutional position.
So we see the importance of being empowered by Krishna.
So we see the importance of being empowered by Krishna.
His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was definitely empowered by Krishna.
His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, is definitely empowered by Krishna.
So taking great tribulations and difficulties, he spread the Krishna conscious movement.
Taking great tribulation and difficulties, he spread the Krishna conscious movement
all over the world.
all over the world.
And he is empowering different people to continue
And he is empowering different people to continue
his movement.
his movement. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.115.
কৃষ্ণ তত্ত্ব, ভক্তি তত্ত্ব ও রসতত্ত্বের সীমা শিক্ষা। কৃষ্ণ তত্ত্ব, ভক্তি তত্ত্ব, রসতত্ত্ব প্রান্ত, সব শিখাইল প্রভু ভগবত সিদ্ধান্ত।
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Srila Rupa Goswami the ultimate limit of the truth about Lord Krishna, the truth about devotional service, and the truth about transcendental mellows, culminating in conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. Finally, he told Rupa Goswami about the ultimate conclusions of Srimad Bhagavatam.
I saw Lord Chaitanya taught Sri Rupa Goswami the esoteric aspects of Krishna Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Bhakti Tattva.
Lord Chaitanya taught Sri Rupa Goswami the esoteric aspects of Krishna Tattva, Rasa Tattva, and Bhakti Tattva.
So Goswami wrote these things down in his various books.
And Rupa Goswami wrote these things down in his various books. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19.116.
রামানন্দ কীর্তিত ভক্তি সিদ্ধান্ত শ্রী রূপকে উপদেশ। রামানন্দ পাশে যত সিদ্ধান্ত শুনিলা, রূপে কৃপা করি তাহ সব সঞ্চারিলা।
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Rupa Goswami all the conclusions he had heard from Ramananda Rai and duly empowered him so that he could understand them.
It's not a simple thing to understand these conclusions.
It's not a simple thing to understand these conclusions.
One needs the special mercy of the Lord.
One needs the special mercy of the Lord.
That mercy Lord Chaitanya gave to Sri Rupa Goswami.
And that mercy Lord Chaitanya gave to Sri Rupa Goswami. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19.170.
শ্রীরূপ হৃদয়ে সর্বতত্ত্ব স্ফূর্তি, শিরু হৃদয়ে প্রভু শক্তি সঞ্চারিলা, সর্বতত্ত্ব নিরূপিয়া প্রবীণ করিলা।
Hari Bol. By entering the heart of Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered him to ascertain properly the conclusion of all truths. He made him an experienced devotee whose decisions correctly agreed with the verdicts of the disciplic succession. Thus, Sri Rupa Goswami was personally empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The principles of devotional service are only apparently under the jurisdiction of material activity. To be rightly guided, one must be personally guided by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was the case with Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and other acharyas.
I just said, Lord Brahma, the Lord enters his heart and teaches him how to create.
Just as for Lord Brahma, the Lord enters his heart and teaches him how to create,
How to understand the Vedic truths.
how to understand the Vedic truth.
So similarly, Lord Chaitanya entered the heart of Sri Rupa and other
Similarly, Lord Chaitanya entered the hearts of Sri Rupa and other acharyas.
how they could understand the inner meaning of different siddhantas,
So they could understand the inner meanings of different siddhantas
or spiritual conclusions.
or spiritual conclusions.
Thus, having understood them thoroughly, they could in turn write them down.
Thus, having understood them thoroughly, they in turn can write it down.
The mental devotion written by Bhaktivedanta Swami is a condensed version of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
The Nectar of Devotion, written by Bhaktivedanta Swami, is a condensed version of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu
by Rupa Goswami.
by Rupa Goswami. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19.118.
কবি কর্ণপুরের স্বকৃত গ্রন্থে শিরূপ শিক্ষার উল্লেখ। শিবানন্দ সেনের পুত্র কবি কর্ণপ রূপের মিলন সগ্রন্থে লিখিয়াছেন প্রচুর।
In his book Chaitanya Chandrodaya, Kavi Karnapura, the son of Shivananda Sen, has elaborately described the meeting between Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So we should also have the Chaitanya Chandrodaya
We should also have the Chaitanya Chandrodaya
and have the elaborate instructions of
and,
Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami.
and hear the elaborate instructions of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.119, Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka 9.38.
শিরূপ সনাতন দ্বারা প্রভুর বর্জলীলা কথা প্রকাশ। শ্রী চৈতন্য চন্দ্রদা নাটক 9:38। কালেন বৃন্দাবন কেলি বার্তা লুপ্তেতি তাং আখ্যায় তুং বিশিষ্য কৃপা দিতে না অভিষেচক দেবস্তত্রৈব রূপঞ্চ সনাতনঞ্চ।
In the course of time, the transcendental news of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan was almost lost. To enunciate explicitly those transcendental pastimes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami with the nectar of his mercy to carry out this work in Vrindavan. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This verse and the following two verses are from Act 9, 38, 29 and 30 from Chaitanya Chandrodaya by Sri Kavi Karnapura.
Now, the pastime places, the pastimes of the Lord, of the Lordship of Lord Krishna,
So the pastime places and the pastimes of their lordships, Shri Shri Radha and Krishna,
are almost lost.
are almost lost.
Lord Chaitanya empowered Rupa and Sanatana
So Lord Chaitanya empowered Rupa and Sanatan
to find out these places and to propagate these pastimes.
to find out these places and propagate these pastimes. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.120, also Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka 9.29.
শিরূপের অনুগ্রহ বিধানকারী প্রভু শ্রী চৈতন্য চন্দ্র নাটক 9:29।
From the very beginning, Srila Rupa Goswami was deeply attracted by the transcendental qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, he was permanently relieved from family life. Srila Rupa Goswami and his younger brother Vallabha were blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although the Lord was transcendently situated in his transcendental eternal form at Prayag, he told Rupa Goswami about transcendental ecstatic love of Krishna. The Lord then embraced him very fondly and bestowed all mercy upon him.
Lord Chaitanya personally empowered Rupa Goswami
Lord Chaitanya personally empowered Rupa Goswami
to explain the truths about Krishna Prema.
to explain truths about Krishna Prema. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.121, Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka 9.30.
প্রভুর দ্বিতীয় স্বরূপ প্রভুর সর্বস্ব শ্রীরূপে ভক্তি রসতত্ত্ব শাস্ত্র বিস্তার চৈতন্য চন্দ্রোদয় নাটক 9:30।
Indeed, Srila Rupa Goswami, whose dear friend was Swarup Damodar, was the exact replica of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was very, very dear to the Lord. Being the embodiment of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love, Rupa Goswami was naturally very beautiful. He very carefully followed the principle enunciated by the Lord, and he was competent person to explain properly the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expanded his mercy to Srila Rupa Goswami, just so he could render service by writing transcendental literatures.
Actually, the Rupa Goswami is the ninth gopi
Actually, Sri Rupa Goswami, he is the ninth gopi,
Sri Rupa Manjari.
Sri Rupa Manjari.
And so he's a direct extension of Srimati Radharani.
He is the direct expansion of Srimati Radharani.
He was empowered by Lord Chaitanya to write transcendental literature.
He was empowered by Lord Chaitanya to write transcendental literatures.
And he wrote the literatures on palm leaves,
He wrote these literatures on palm leaves,
which was taken back to Bengal and copied.
which was taken back to Bengal and were copied. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.122.
শ্রীমত কর্ণপুর লিখে স্থানে স্থানে প্রভু কৃপা কইলা জয়ছে রূপ সনাতনে।
The characteristics of Srila Rupa Goswami have thus been described in various places by the poet Kavi Karnapura. An account has also been given of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his causeless mercy upon Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami.
As I said earlier, and that's one gets the mercy of the Lord, the Krishna conscious movement cannot be sweat.
As I said earlier, unless one gets the mercy of the Lord, the Krishna consciousness movement can't spread.
That's Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami receive this mercy, causeless mercy from Lord Chaitanya.
So Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami received this causeless mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.123.
শ্রীরূপ সনাতন সমগ্র গৌর ভক্তের প্রিয়তম। মহাপ্রভুর যত বড় বড় ভক্ত মাত্র রূপ সনাতন সবার কৃপা গৌর পাত্র।
Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were the objects of love and honor for all the great stalwart devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Without some devotees become before or some after Rupa and Sanatana.
So some devotees may become before or after Rupa and Sanatana,
But they were respected by all,
but they were respected by all
since they had received a special mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
since they have received the special mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.124.
সকলের আদরের দৃষ্টান্ত বৃন্দাবন দর্শনকারীকে রূপ সনাতন সম্বন্ধে সাগ্রহ জিজ্ঞাসা। কেউ যদি দেশে যায় দেখি বৃন্দাবন তারে প্রশ্ন করেন প্রভুর পারিষদগণ।
If someone returned to his country after seeing Vrindavan, the associates of the Lord would ask him questions. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.125.
ও তাহা কইছে রহে রূপ সনাতন কইছে রহে কইছে বৈরাগ্য কইছে ভজন।
They would ask those returning from Vrindavan, how are Rupa and Sanatan doing in Vrindavan? What are their activities in the renounced order? How do they manage to eat? These were the questions asked. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.126.
কইছে অষ্টপ্রহর করেন শ্রীকৃষ্ণ ভজন তবে প্রশংসিয়া কহে সেই ভক্তগণ।
The Lord's associates would also ask, how is that Rupa and Sanatan are engaging in devotional service 24 hours daily? At that time, the person who had returned from Vrindavan would praise Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis.
So Lord Chaitanya would always ask, coming back from Vrindavan, are Rupa and Sanatana.
So Lord Chaitanya would always ask to anyone who's coming from Vrindavan about
The Lord's associates praise them and they're doing bhajan about 24 hours a day.
So the Lord's associate would praise about them that they are doing bhajan for 24 hours a day. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.127.
শ্রীরূপ সনাতনের বৈরাগ্যযুক্ত ভক্তি রসপান মত্ততা বর্ণন অনিকে দুহে বনে যত বৃক্ষ গান এক এক বৃক্ষে তলে এক এক রাত্রি শয়ন
The brothers actually have no fixed residence. They reside beneath trees, one night under one tree and the next night under another.
I would sleep in the shade of trees.
They would sleep in the shades of the trees.
This is true renunciation.
This is true renunciation.
We cannot imitate them.
We cannot imitate them. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.128.
বিপ্রগৃহে স্থূল ভিক্ষা কাহা মাধু করি শুষ্ক রুটি চানা চিবায় ভোগ করি হরি
Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswami beg a little food from the house of Brahmanas. Giving up all kinds of material enjoyment, they take only some dry bread and fried chickpeas.
Rupa Sanatan are taking little prasad, little food from the house of Brahmins.
Rupa and Sanatan were taking little prasad, little food from the house of the Brahmins.
Their life was very simplified.
So, thus their life was very simplified. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.129.
পরোয়া মাত্র হাতে কাঁথা ছিড়া বহির্বাস কৃষ্ণ কথা কৃষ্ণ নাম নর্তন উল্লাস
They carry only water pots and they wear only torn quilts. They always chant the holy names of Krishna and discuss his pastimes. In great jubilation, they also dance.
Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis,
Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatan Goswamis,
although had very little material possessions,
although had very little material possessions,
were filled with spiritual bliss,
were filled with spiritual bliss.
and they were chanting and dancing in ecstasy.
And they were chanting and dancing in ecstasy. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.134.
অষ্টপ্রহর কৃষ্ণ ভজন চারিদণ্ড শয়ন নাম সংকীর্তন প্রেমে সেই সেও নয় কোনো দিনে
They engage almost 24 hours daily in rendering service to the Lord. They usually sleep only an hour and a half, and some days they continuously chant the Lord's holy name. They do not sleep at all.
Rupa and Sanatan, Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis. In this way, past the days completely absorbed in serving the Lord. Krishna.
Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswami in this way passed the days in completely serving the Lord, Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.131.
প্রভু ভক্তি রস শাস্ত্র করে লিখন চৈতন্য কথা শুনে করে চৈতন্য চিন্তন
Sometimes they write transcendental literatures about devotional service, and sometimes they hear about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and spent their time thinking about the Lord. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19.132.
রূপ সনাতনের ভজনাচরণ শ্রবণে ভক্তগণের সুখ, এই কথা শুনি মহান্তের মহাসুখ হয়। চৈতন্যর কৃপা যায় তাহে কি বিস্ময়।
When the personal associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would hear of the activities of Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis, they would say, "What is wonderful for a person who has been granted the Lord's mercy?" Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami had no fixed residence. They stayed beneath a tree for one day only and wrote huge volumes of transcendental literature. They not only wrote books about books but chanted, danced, discussed Krishna, and remembered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Thus, they executed devotional service. In Vrindavan, there are Prakrita Sahajias who say that writing books or even touching books is taboo. For them, devotional service means being relieved from these activities. Whenever they are asked to hear a recitation of Vedic literature, they refuse, saying, "What business do we have reading or hearing transcendental literatures? They are meant for neophytes." They pose themselves as too elevated to exert energy for reading, writing, and hearing. However, pure devotees under the guidance of Srila Rupa Goswami reject the Sahaja philosophy. It is certainly not good to write literature for money or reputation, but to write books and publish them for the enlightenment of general populace is the real service to the Lord. That was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's opinion, and he specifically told his disciples to write books. He actually prefers to publish books rather than establish temples. Temple construction is meant for populace and neophyte devotees, but the business of advanced and empowered devotees is to write books, publish them, and distribute them widely. According to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, distributing literature is like playing on a great mridanga. Consequently, we always request members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to publish as many books as possible and distribute them widely throughout the world. By thus following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, one can become a Rupanuga devotee.
I see that overall Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami spent their time in chanting, dancing, and writing books.
So we can see that Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami spent their time in chanting, dancing, and writing the book.
Discuss Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya.
They discuss about Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya.
So there's writing books and distributing books.
So writing book and distributing books
Is the work of our parampara.
is the work of our parampara.
And although the Sahajas are very proud and think themselves above all these activities,
Although the Prakrita Sahajas is very proud and think themselves above all these activities,
our devotees following Rupa Goswami, this is an essential activity.
so for the devotees following Rupa Goswami, this is an essential activity.
Ourselves all want to establish in the International Society of our Krishna Consciousness, reading, studying the books, and distributing them.
So Srila Prabhupada established in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, reading, studying the books, and distributing them. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19.
প্রাকৃত ভক্তি রসামৃত সিন্ধুতে প্রভু কৃপা বর্ণন। চৈতন্যের কৃপারু লিখিয়াছেন আপনে রসামৃত গ্রন্থের মঙ্গলাচরণে।
Rupa Goswami has personally spoken about the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his auspicious introduction to his book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.2. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.134.
ভক্তি রসামৃত সিন্ধু 1.1.2।
Although I am the lowest of men and have no knowledge, the inspiration to write transcendental literatures about devotional service has been mercifully bestowed upon me. Therefore, I am offering my obeisances at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has given me the chance to write these books.
So you can see the humility of Srila Sanatana Goswami.
So we can see the humility of Srila Sanatan Goswami,
How he gave all the credit to Lord Chaitanya.
how he gave all the credits to Lord Chaitanya.
Similarly, our spiritual masters have written books at the service to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Similarly, our spiritual masters have written books as a service to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.135.
প্রয়াগে 10 দিন যাবৎ প্রভু শ্রীরূপকে শিক্ষাদান এই মতো 10 দিন প্রয়াগে রহিয়া শ্রীরূপে শিক্ষা দিল শক্তি সঞ্চারিয়া।
For 10 days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at Prayag and instructed Rupa Goswami, empowering him with the necessary potency. Purport: this is a confirmation of the statement Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tar Pravartano. Unless one is specifically empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he cannot spread the Krishna consciousness movement. An empowered devotee sees and feels himself to be the lowest of men, for he knows that whatever he does is due to the inspiration given by the Lord in the heart. This is confirmed by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Tesam Satata Yuptanam Vajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogantam Enamam Upayanti Te. For those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To be empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to qualify himself. This means that one must engage 24 hours daily in the loving devotional service of the Lord. The material position of a devotee doesn't matter because devotional service is not dependent on material considerations. In his earlier life, Srila Rupa Goswami was a government officer and a grihastha. He was not even brahmachari or sannyasi. He associated with mlechas and yavanas, but because he was always eager to serve, he was qualified recipient of the Lord's mercy. A sincere devotee can therefore be empowered by the Lord regardless of his situation. In the preceding verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami has described how he was personally empowered by the Lord. He further states in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.187, Ya yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikilasvapi avastasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. A person acting in the service of Krishna with his body, mind, and words is a liberated person even in the material world, although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities. To keep oneself free from material contamination and attain the Lord's favor, one must be sincerely eager to render service to the Lord. This is the only qualification necessary. As soon as one is favored by the mercy of the spiritual master and the Lord, one is immediately given all the power necessary to write books and propagate the Krishna consciousness movement without being hampered by material considerations.
This is the secret of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami could write transcendental literature.
So this is the secret how Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatan Goswami could write transcendental literatures.
And all the Satsanasas, the Siddha succession, who endeavor to write
And all the spiritual masters of the disciplic succession who endeavored to write
should be empowered by their spiritual master and the Lord
who endeavored
Chaitanya.
to write should be empowered by the spiritual master, their spiritual master and Lord Chaitanya. Thus ends the chapter entitled Conduct of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami in Vrindavan. Under the section Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.